Hello, my name is Genetra Robinson. I am from Jackson, Mississippi, and I'm a jack of all trades. I am an independent educational consultant, licensed educator. I am a capacity building specialist with My Brother's Keeper, as well as a director of outreach and community engagement with Jason Quinn State Farm. Oh, wow. So I'm going to start with a little bit of backstory, if that's okay. So at the time, I was a licensed teacher, teaching third grade at the time. And so it got to a point where I just didn't feel good every day. Like, I didn't feel good. My period was more than like the 7 to 10 days. It was really heavy. And so I was stressed because I had students. I was in a testing grade. It was just a time in my life where I just did not feel my best. So I went to my OBGYN at the time, and I was telling her like what was going on with me. I was giving her my symptoms, and I was just telling her, I was like, I just don't feel good. Like, I'm not energetic. I don't feel like doing anything. I was like, my periods are heavy. And so her response was, she was like, you're in your early 30s, your body's changing, you're maturing as a woman, so you just kind of have to adjust with some of those changes. And so in the moment, I took what she said, but I knew there wasn't the end all, because the purpose of life is to enjoy it. I wasn't enjoying life. I just didn't feel good. So having a conversation with a really good girlfriend, I was just upset. I was upset because I didn't feel good. So I'm just telling her, I was like, I get up every morning, I'm dragging, I don't feel like going to work, I hurt. And she said, Janitra, she was like, no, she said, you're not having a good quality of life. Something's wrong. She said, I'm gonna bring you in to see my OBGYN. So she brought me in to see her OBGYN, and I just love her. Her name was Dr. Lutz. And so the first initial visit with her, she was so serene, so calm, so nice. And so she was like, let's just talk, let's have a conversation. Tell me a little bit about yourself. She told me a little bit about herself in the conversation. So she asked me, could she give me a physical exam? Gave me a breast exam, then she did an exam on my abdomen. So she said, something's wrong. She said, I'm not sure what. She said, but you have something in there. And I just kind of joked. I was like, well, it ain't no baby because I ain't been having sex. I can't. So she was like, we're going to see. So she told me what the next steps were. She said, I'm going to send you down the hall. You're going to get a vaginal ultrasound. Are you okay with that? And I said, I'm okay with that. But can you tell me what that is? Because I had never heard of a vaginal ultrasound. And so she explained to me the procedure. She was like, it was going to be painless. A tech was going to be with me. And so I was like, okay. So we went down the hall, got the ultrasound. Of course, they had the screen on the wall. I couldn't really see what that screen was, what images were on there, but the tech could see it because I could tell because she was taking pictures. She took maybe like 60 pictures, and she was measuring. So I asked the lady, I said, what do you see? She was like, Dr. Lutz will have a conversation with you. So I said, okay. So she took me to another room. Dr. Lutz came in. So kind of like how I'm sitting here, she sat below me, held my hand. She said, I'm going to tell you something. She said, you have a serious problem, serious but not serious. She said, you have something called fibroids. She said, do you know what those are? I said, no, I don't know what those are. And so she explained to me that African American women typically develop these, non-cancerous tumors. And she said, so that's what's causing all of your issues. So I was like, okay. Now we have an answer to why I feel so bad. So that was the start of my fibroid journey. Well, my immediate thought was, why? So, of course, I went down my own rabbit hole, doing my own research. I asked the doctor why. And so, she didn't give me anything specific, but she said it can be, anything from environmental, uh, it could be genetic. They don't know. But as I did my own research, looking into it as to maybe why I developed it, it had a little bit to do with genetics, the way that I was eating, things that I were eating. Because I don't know, a lot of people don't know, once you develop fibroids, depending on what your diet is, it'll cause them to grow bigger. So, yes, and because of the unknown source of why African American women are a more prevalent group to develop those fibroids, I became an advocate for fibroid awareness. So other women who go through situations like this don't feel like they're alone or have anyone to talk to. And hopefully with more advocates on board, we can get the research done to pinpoint why these develop in the manner that they do. Because so many, I would say, maybe like of all my friend group, because this had never come up before, because I never knew what it was. When I started talking to people about it, maybe 3 out of 5 people that I talked to had had fibroids before and multiple surgeries at that time. And my mother had them. She never told me, but she did. Because of course I'm at the doctor, and when I found out, I called her on the phone, and she was like, "Oh," she's like, "I've had those." When we found out I had fibroids, she sent me downstairs to get some blood work because she said, "I need to see what your numbers looking like." And then she made me an appointment to come back. So got the blood work, left. She called me on the phone. I probably wasn't 2 miles up the road from the clinic. And so she said, "I'm gonna have to put you in the hospital." And I said, "Why?" She said, "Your blood count, your iron is so low." She said, "You need a blood transfusion." And I let that digest, and I told her, I said, "Dr. Lutz," I said, "I'm not against the blood transfusion." I said, "But as long as I can communicate, let's try some alternative methods." I said, "Now, if I pass out, do whatever you need to do to revive me." I said, "But I don't want a blood transfusion to be the first line of response because my iron's low." I said, "What other things can we do to build the iron up in my blood?" So she put me on a birth control pill, a prenatal vitamin, and an iron supplement, because she said in order for her to do surgery, my iron count would have to be at a certain level the morning of surgery. They just had bags of blood on hand in case I needed it, and I didn't need it, thank God. But yes, I had a procedure called an open abdominal myomectomy. I had one fibroid. It was intramural and submucosal in my uterus, weighing around 22 pounds. Literally, it was like night and day. I had the surgery, even just the next day from the surgery. I spent a few days in the hospital because it was an open abdominal procedure, but it was instant almost. I felt a sense of normalcy after getting that removed, because as she explained to me, the tumor needs what I'm giving it in my body to survive. So it literally was just sucking the life out of me. Anything that I'm putting in to give me energy, it was going to the tumor. As a Black woman, it is extremely important for you to advocate for your own health. You know, we get so tied down and bogged down with people making critical assessments of us, because when I say of us, I mean of Black women, because we can be direct, we can be concise, we're straight to the point. But because I'm all of those things doesn't make me aggressive. It does not make me mad or anything like that. And so so people don't say those things about us. We tend to kind of cower down and be a little quieter when it comes to speaking up for ourselves. And we have to get that narrative out of our minds, because that's a complete lie. If you don't speak up for Genetra, if Genetra doesn't speak up for Genetra, then who's going to speak up for me? Because if I'm sitting here having a conversation with my provider, whether that be a primary care, my therapist, my OBGYN, if I don't tell them, this is my expectation of you, this is the type of care that I'm expecting of you, then I'm just going to get what they give me. And that ain't enough. So in order for you to be healed, whether that be medically, holistically, mentally, behaviorally, you have to give your provider that expectation. This is what I expect. And if and that gives them the opportunity to let you know, well, that's not the kind of doctor I am. Okay, I'm gonna find another physician because they're out there. So it's very important for you to be your own advocate. Until you can help yourself, you can't help other people.